Good morning and welcome aboard Intrepid Bear. This morning I've got to go and put a new dome up the mast for the radar. Those of you that followed our Instagram will know that I had all sorts of problems with the radar. Finally got a new one, going to stick it up the mast today, plug it in and have a play. But also several people have been interested in how I generally climb the mast and also about the Topclimber that I use to do it. So I can climb the mast by myself, we don't need any help from the deck, although it's useful to have somebody around just in case. So first of all, let's have a look at the kit that we've got. Okay, shooting into the sun a bit here, so excuse me squinting. So we have the Topclimber itself, and in this bag I also keep some spare bits which I go with the Topclimber. And this is a normal climbing harness, some carabiners, strops, and a petzl descender. So this will go up a rope, but it won't come down unless you release it. That's the idea. This will be the rope I climb, because the Topclimber, as you'll see, you have to thread the rope through, so you can't normally use your normal halyard, because they normally have things on the end, shackles, etc. This rope here is for lifting up the dome when I get up there. So the Topclimber itself has two pieces. This is the seat, or the bosun's chair, and the top jammer. So this top jammer is what stops the rope. You pull the rope through, it jams, pull it up, it jams. I'll show you more of that once we get it up there. And then there is the foot part that your feet go in and they come up independently. So you lift the top, put your weight on the top, then you lift your legs up and push up with your feet. So those are the bits that we're going to use. Okay, so we're going to put up their halyard, or the climbing line. I'm going to stick it on this halyard here, which comes down to the deck here. As you can see, it's got a thing on the end, even without the clip on the end and the rather rough bowline that's on there. That won't go through the Topclimber because it's only got a fairly small hole to go through. It's meant to be a 10mm line maximum, so that's not going to work. So what I do is I attach my climbing line to this and put it up the mast. What I won't do though is just attach it through this clip here. I don't like to use those clips there. I've seen those fail and come undone when they've been used on sheets and genoas, etc. Last thing we want is that coming undone when we're climbing on it. So what I do is a double sheet bend. Here's a double sheet bend, pull that tight. Can't really do it because I've got my camera in my hand. Oh, I can if I do that. But double sheet bend is not going to come undone. Okay, so that's nice and tight. And we'll hoist that up the mast. Secure it there. Feed this off to secure anywhere, but I'm not going to do that yet because I've got to feed the Topclimber through it, haven't I? Okay, so we take the seat first, feed the rope through the jammer. This rope is just a smidge big, but it goes through and it works well once it's through. It just takes a little bit of fiddling to get it through there. So that comes through. So up that goes there on this seat bit. Foot, where's the end of the rope gone? There it is. Feed that through exactly the same way. Now this wants to go through the loop on the here as well. This keeps it in line with the rope, stops your feet swinging out too much. So you might as well do both of those at the same time. Pull it all the way through. Right, now take the end of the line away and secure it. I just take it to a cleat. It doesn't really matter as long as it's secure. You can climb a slack line that's not secured at the bottom, but it's a lot easier if you climb it when it's made off. So let's make that off on the cleat there. Keep your lines as tidy as we can, so just don't leave your coils all over the place, so that just makes for pain later when you get your feet in them. Once it's secure, take some tension in that line As I say, you want it as tight as you can, but without overstressing the deck fitting. So that's as tight enough. It'll still go slack when I sit on it, you watch, just due to my weight. What I also do is I take this around here. It's not particularly tidy, there's probably a better cleat I could use, but this is the biggest one. And I put it on the cleat as well. Reason for that, just in case the winch slips, just in case anything could happen there, so that's secure. Okay, next thing is the petzl ascender. Now this goes on a totally separate halyard. On this occasion it's only running up to just above the radar, but that's fine because we only need to get to the radar. So the ascender goes on there, it can slide up on the rope, but it can't come down unless I release it. I'll be attached to this separately by the climbing harness, and so if this was to give way, then the climbing harness would save me. So then we stick on the climbing harness. This is just a relatively cheap, it's a good make, it's petzl, but wasn't particularly expensive climbing harness. Some people would say it's over the top safety. You could just attach a separate line to your Topclimber if you want to. I prefer to have two totally redundant systems, or independently redundant systems, so that I can be totally safe should one of them fail in any way. Okay, so having got the harness on, I use one of these, goes through the harness, gets the carabiner on the end. That carabiner will attach to the safety halyard. Put a second one on with a second carabiner that I just clip around on the back side there, out of the way. The reason for having two safety cords is sometimes when you're climbing the mast, you'll find yourself with your halyards going the wrong way, and you'll be the wrong side of a spreader or the wrong side of a stay, and you'll want to change it over. So with two safety cords, you can attach one, and then you can attach the other one to another point and release the other one. So you've always got your 2 points of contact. 2 points of contact is what you always want. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do then, we'll get ourselves into the Topclimber. So you can see there's an arrow on it, shows you which way to get in. It's easiest if you lower it right down, step in. I don't know how well you can see that because I can't see what the GoPro on my head can see. Step in, bring it outside all the other gear, all the other bits and pieces that you're wearing. Then there's a strap under the leg which attaches to the strap there. Tighten that up, make sure it's all up around your back nicely. The foot are more easy to get into, literally 1 foot in, and the other foot in. There's also a clip underneath here which goes to the rope. It stops you swinging out too far. It's optional, and that holds you in. From there you can have a climb. So first thing, get this top slider. Again, I apologise if it's not really in the picture, I really can't see. So safety cord onto a sender on the separate line. Now take the top slider on the Topclimber as high as it'll go, and then sit down on it. Okay, now I'm going to bring up the bottom one, and my legs are going to come up with it. This is where it all feels a bit weird. So jam that as high as I can. Then I stand up in the foot, up with the top, sit down, stand up with the foot, up, and then keep bringing your safety up with you. And that's it. I'm going to come back down there because obviously I haven't got the radar. That's a simple matter. Take the weight off the top, bring it down, and your safety, bring it down, sit down, legs down, and you're down. Take off all the weight, bring it down, ease it off, and then we'll get the bits and pieces we need to actually do the job. Okay, so here it is. This is the beastie that's going to be going up very shortly. Lovely and shiny, can't wait to play with it. But what's even more exciting is hopefully, because our old gear was not that old and it was Raymarine, we can interface directly to it. The Quantum 2 requires a power supply, and then you can do it with just a power supply because it can Wi-Fi down to the Axiom display. But you can also hardwire the cable, the data cable, and normally they'd be separate cables on a new Axiom installation, a Quantum installation, I apologise. But Raymarine supply this nice adapter cable which brings both together and terminates in exactly the connector that is already in the mast. That, added to the fact that hopefully these screw holes are exactly the same, means I don't have to put up a new bracket and I don't have to feed through a new cable, which is a massive bonus. Let's see how that works out when we get up there. Okay, so we're all strapped back in. We've got the line attached to the radar. We've got some clippers and some pliers and some cable ties just in case we need them. So let's do this. So up as high as I possibly can on the top jammer, sit down, take the weight, and up on your knees, keeping yourself off the mast, and climb. Swinging around all over the place. Up the mast, there we go. Safety up, feet up, seat up, safety up, swinging around, feet up as high as you can, up, up. The beauty of the Topclimber is I don't need anybody down below. Kate is indoors and we do have a signal, which is me rapping on the mast continuously if I do need any backup. So although I can't deny I have climbed with no one else around, it is best to have somebody just in case you get stuck or get into some kind of bother whilst you're up there. Up and up. Make sure you keep the safety as high and tight as you can, because if your main line does give way, you want to minimise the snatch on the safety and you don't want to drop 3 feet before it kicks in. So coming up to the spreaders now. One thing you've got to be careful of as you get beyond the spreaders is any bits and pieces like this rather battered old aqua signal horn, is you don't tread on it as you go over, because that's very easy to do. Have done it many times. See, it's quite, I mean, you're quite comfortable up here. If you need a rest, you just sit and have a rest. You have a look around. It's quite impressive. And it's quite comfy in the seat, so you don't have to worry if you get puffed out. You can just rest. If you are going all the way to the top, it is a long way to the top, as AC/DC would say. And here we are, arriving up at the bracket, which I fitted for the last radar. You can see the old holes, and then this I think is a safety cable, which I tied off because it was rattling when there was nothing on it, but that gets attached to the bottom of the radar. So you've got to get yourself just to a reasonable height. You've got to be able to work under the bracket and over it. So there we are, that's about nice. Now I'm going to bring the dome up. One thing I do have to watch is that the dome will interfere with the rope, so I need to hold myself off a little bit. So I can push off the mast and just hold myself out. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring it up, and that one bolt that's already in is not really a problem. because I can just put it on in such a manner that it's off at a little bit of an angle, and then I can get one of the other bolts in and take the lifting one out, so it should stay nice and safely up there. So we get one of the other bolts ready. We got the spanner and bolts in my pocket. The main thing is just to get one in. I won't even put the washers on at the moment because I want to get one in safely, so that we can then, so I'm going to put that in that little pocket there. Okay, so this is, shall we say, the more precarious bit. So we take up the lifting line. The Quantum is so much lighter than the 418 that it's replacing. Now the fun is getting it up onto its pedestal. Oh, so light compared to the other one. It's nice. So make sure you don't let go of it. So I've still got the rope, and I just need to get that other bolt. See, I've just got it. I don't know how much you can see, and I'm really sorry I can't adjust the camera right now, but I've cocked it off at a bit of an angle so that I can just get one bolt in, and while it's still loose I can remove the lifting one. There, so we've got one in now. Now that's in, she ain't going nowhere. See, I haven't put any washers on yet. I'll do that in a minute, but trying to fiddle with all the washers and everything else is quite a job. So now I've done up that quite tight. We'll need a spanner to take the lifting one off. So release the lifting bolt. Always pays to be very careful with tools. You don't want to drop it, because one, you'll have to go back down and get it, and two, it could do some damage as it hits the deck. There, right. So remove the lifting thing and just drape that over my knee for now. And then I did have the washers on this one, so I can get this one in. And yes, 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 the holes do align, so that's an absolute result. Right, so now we'll spanner tighten each of the bracket of the bolts, connect the cable, and we're out of here. Cool. One of the anti-shake washers, that's not going anywhere. So in theory, these two cables will marry straight up. There, gotcha. Gotcha. Nice, nice, nice. Right, there you go. Dome secure. Let's get us down. So, if you don't ease the tension off the safety, you won't be able to get down. So the safety, don't take it all off, just release it and it can come down. So then put the weight up, release the seat jammer, the top jammer, bend your knees up, down. Don't take the knees too far down or you won't be able to release the top. But you want to go as far as you can, because then you get down quicker. Touchdown. Let's give it a go. Moment of truth. Oh, here we go. Yes. There you go. The dome is up, the dome is working. Okay, there we go. So that's me climbing the mast. I just have to put a little bit of a caveat on there, just to say I'm not a climbing expert. I've got no climbing training. I've just read the instructions of the Mast climber, and I take my own risk assessment. so that I want, that's how I climb. I'm not telling you that's how you should climb. I'm not telling you it's the right way to climb. That's how I climb the mast. I like to have the double system, so I've got the climbing harness and the mast climber. But this was mainly for the benefit of people who are interested in how I climbed the mast. Some people have not climbed a mast yet and are looking for the way to do it. Other people were interested in that particular system, the ATN mast climber. I like it. It leaves me free to climb without having to have anybody down below. But like I say, it's worth having someone there. So I think that's it. I could waffle on for ages, but I don't think you need to do that. I hope you enjoyed it. First go at making a video. I'm sure the future ones will be a lot better. All right, thanks very much. Cheers.